Shalom, 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 shalom. As always, first I want to give all the praises and the glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kadash. Yahweh is the Most High's name. Yahweh Shai is the Son's name. Yahweh means He is, or He is to be. Yahweh Shai means He's the deliverer. As always, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. We're leading this word in truth and spirit and sincerity. And salutations to my fellow Hebrew Israelite brothers out there that are edifying the flock in the true name of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, our Lord and Savior. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Today's edification, America and Rome, the fourth beast whose deadly wound was healed. America and Rome, the fourth beast whose deadly wound was healed. Now, we're going to compare the two great nations, America and Rome, all right? We're going to compare them. And then we're going to play, I want to play a short bits of this clip of this. It's called, the movie was called The Fall of the Roman Empire. It came out in 1964. I'm going to play you, we're going to play a quick clip of it as well. And we're going to kind of go through it. I'm going to bring out some scriptures and that. We're going to kind of just dissect a little bit of the clip of this film. It's called it's called The Fall of the Roman Empire. It came out in 1964. But before we do that, we're going to play this quick comparison between the two nations, all right? America and Rome. So without further ado, let's go. We're at the doorstep. We're at the doorstep of the eternal flame of the fourth beast of the reincarnation of the Roman Empire, the fourth beast. We're at the doorstep of that eternal flame being outed. This is where we're at. We're at the doorstep of it. So, like, 1 second before we go, so grab my Bible. I'm gonna, 1 second. So now we're gonna play. Gonna play this here. Let's just add this here. 1 second. So I'm gonna play a clip from this movie here. Very good movie. Very, very good movie. Came out in 1964. What we have to understand is when Esau made these type of movies back then, they went into absolute detail in making these type of movies. So I want to listen to what they're saying here in the Roman Senate, because this film, as you can see from its title, is called The Fall of the Roman Empire. That's what it's about, how Rome fell. And it, just like what we showed you in that short video, the alignment, the alignment between ancient Rome and modern Rome, United States of America, which is a reincarnation of the Roman Empire, the same way how it fell back then, this is how it's going to fall today. But except it's going to its ending of America, Babylon the Great, is going to be spectacular in its fall and its destruction. But how it gets there is going to be the exact same way how the ancient Roman Empire fell. That's why in the Bible, the book of Revelations, it's referred to the fourth beast. The beast's deadly wound was healed. This is the fourth beast. America is the reincarnation of the Roman Empire. It is the fourth beast, right? In the book of Daniel's, it is the fourth beast that's reincarnated from the Roman Empire. So let's just play this clip here. We're going to play, we're going to bring out some scriptures while we're playing it.
Born a slave, I won my freedom. Fellow Romans, I am a teacher. And as a teacher, I know that when I've tried to teach the same lesson for 100 times and still the pupil does not understand, then I'm forced to the conclusion that perhaps there's something wrong, either with the lesson or with the teacher. 100 times we have taught those we call barbarians what it means to make war on Rome. We've burned their villages, we've crucified their leaders, we have enslaved their young. Fires go out, the dead are buried, the slaves die slowly. But the hatred that we leave behind us never dies.
So that's similar to now. You think of all of the wars that America's been involved in around the world, the killing, the murdering, the pillaging, the burning, the destruction of towns and cities, economies, peoples. That hatred for America never dies, because they went about the same. They went about to create their empire with all that power the same way as ancient Rome went about to create their empire. That's why the Bible talks about the beast is deadly wound and healed. Now, this is the fourth beast that Daniel was prophesying about. Rome, ancient Rome. But that beast was going to be back here in these last days, all right, to be part of these, because it had to be part of these end time prophecies. So just like he said, that hatred is still there. So it's no different from what they did back then in establishing their empire, Rome, to what America did today to establish their empire. Murder, pillage, rape. from the destruction of the Native American Indians, transatlantic slave trade, to the destruction of what they did in South America with all their military coups that they did, their assassinations, their invasions around the world, the Iraqs, the Libyas, the Syrias, the Afghanistans. There's a hatred that they've left behind, just like how ancient Rome, just like he said there's a hatred that's been left behind.
The slaves die slowly. But the hatred that we leave behind us never dies.
The hatred that they leave behind never dies. No different to what ancient Rome did to what modern Rome does today, America. All right? Let's go on.
Hatred means wars. Wars mean tribute torn from our provinces, taxes, hunger, disease. How costly that is. How wasteful. And yet the answer is simple. We must have no war. No war when you're...
And we know that time's not going to come about until the kingdom is set up. Until the kingdom of heaven was set up on earth. That's when we're going to get to that time of no wars. So we know that can't happen. Just like how this senator is going to tell him now that that can't happen there now, neither. Now this is during the time of Commodus. All right, Commodus is the son of Marcus Aurelius. All right, so this is just after the time of the five, what they call I think it's the five or the four, the five good emperors: Nerva, Trajan, Hadrian, Antonius, and Marcus Aurelius. And the emperor now is Marcus Aurelius' son, Commodus. All right, just so you understand. And remember, these emperors that I just mentioned were all Jakes, were all so-called black men. All right, just so you understand. All right, this is Marcus Aurelius here. All right, it's his son that's sitting on the it's his son that's sitting on the throne now in Rome. This is Marcus Aurelius was a black man. So was Antonius Pius. So was Hadrian. So was Trajan. So was Nerva. These are the emperors that came after Domitian, the son of what's his name? The son of Vespasian. That's Vespasian's younger son. He had two sons, Titus and Domitian. All right. After Domitian died around 98 BC, sorry, AD or CE, Common Era, Nerva became the emperor. Then from Nerva, you had Trajan, Hadrian, Antonio Pius, and Marcus Aurelius. Right? And they were referred to in history as the five good emperors. All right, because things changed drastically in Rome during that period. So his son Commodus is who's sitting on the throne now. All right. So when this is played out in the Senate, it's Marcus Aurelius' son that's sitting on the throne, who's the emperor now, basically. All right. So let's just quickly go on.
Friends continually attack us. This is treason. These people have proved their aims very clearly: to destroy us and to destroy the whole Roman way of life.
Because these guys are vassals. They're client states of Rome. So these are people that are in charge of the client states of Rome that Rome had conquered. All right, but they're not considered Roman citizens. They're vassals. They're rulers that are put in place in the places that Rome had conquered. That's who the man is to the left is in the dark suit. All right, these are not Roman citizens. The Roman citizens are the senator and the guy that is speaking to him now.
Yet, the answer is simple. Let us transform my friends from men of war to men of peace. Let us put them on our abandoned farmland. Not only will they produce food for themselves, but this I pledge you, one day they will send food to Rome.
Yes, I agree. Put them on those lands. Let them produce for us, but as slaves.
And same thing today. Remember, America consumes 25% of the world's resources, but they only make up 4% of the world's population. America literally imports everything. Everything gets shipped to America. Whether it's from China, Europe, India, Africa, it imports probably 80% of its products, America, all right? It doesn't export anything but arms, weapons, and as we know, technology when it comes to like social media technology and those type of things, like Microsoft, the Oracles, the Facebooks, the Googles, that type of technology. Otherwise, it doesn't export anything. It's a service state, America. So its food is supplied to them by places all around the world, continents around the world. So no different to what they're suggesting there is how America is today. All right?
That is the way it has always been.
Niger here used to have 20,000 slaves on his family estate. Where are they now? All sold or freed. Why? Because Niger is opposed to slavery? Huh? No, because...
Just like America. America wasn't opposed to slavery. Lincoln didn't go to war with the South because he was opposed to slavery. It was because of the money that he felt the North was losing out from the free labor that the South was getting from their slaves. Always remember that. Abraham Lincoln did not emancipate or so-called emancipate our ancestors. It was to do with the money that the North, because the North went to war with the South, right? You had the 13 colonies, the British colonies. The North went to war with the South to unite the 13 colonies for it to become the United States of America, all right? That was a war that happened 100 years after the War of Independence. Now, if they cared about slavery, in 1776, when they had the War of Independence against the British, they would have freed our ancestors then in 1776. But that didn't happen. The emancipation didn't take place until 100 years later, 1876. The Civil War started around 1865 and I think finished around 1871. So my point is, they didn't free us from our slavery because they wanted us to be free. It's because of the money that the North was not gaining from what the South was gaining, because the South had what? Free labor. They had us as slaves. So they was making, hundreds of millions of dollars in the South compared to what the North was making. So that's why they went to war with the South, not to free your ancestors, but to get the money, the taxes and the money that was being made down South. Because remember, your freedom didn't give you a right to vote. You didn't get a right to vote until another 100 years later, 1965. So remember that, all right? Let's just quickly listen on. Sorry.
Sold or freed. Why? Because Niger is opposed to slavery? Huh? No, because it's no longer profitable to keep slaves. Slaves do not produce as much as free men. Let us do what is profitable and right. Let us share the greatest gift of all. Let us give these men the right of Roman freedom. Then they will spread the word that Rome has accepted them as equals. Then will we have our human frontiers, the Roman peace.
You know what he said? He said, then we will have our human frontier, the Roman beast. So it makes me wonder once again, when they made this film in 1964, because these directors and these researcher people that when they make these films, they're very astute in getting information. did they know that the Roman Empire was referred to as the fourth beast in the book of Daniel when they made this movie? It makes me wonder, because they're very astute, the researchers that work with the production staff that make that when they made this movie back in 1964. That he used the exact word, the Roman beast. Right, listen again. Listen again.
That Rome has accepted them as equals. Then will we have our human frontiers. The Roman peace. Our human frontiers. The Roman peace. Our human frontiers. The Roman peace.
The Roman beast, right? So it makes me wonder, did the researchers, when they made this movie, know that Rome was referred to as the fourth beast in the book of Daniel? So let's quickly just bring it up here. Hold on. Daniel chapter 7. Go straight to the point. The vision of the four beasts. All right, so it says there, Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, four winds of the heavens strove from the great sea. And the four beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings, the Neo-Babylonian Empire. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man's heart was given to it. And I behold another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had three ribs in its mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise and devour much flesh, which was the Persian and the Medes Empire. That it had in its, that's who the second beast is, right? The Persian and the Medes Empire, all right? And the three ribs that it had in its mouth were the other three empires that were situated around the Persian and the Median Empire. I forget what they were called. I think it was the Chaldeans. I forget what the other three were, but those were the three ribs. The three ribs represent the three empires that the Persian and the Medes is Egypt, the Babylonians, and the Lydians. That's the three ribs that was in its mouth, right? The second beast is the Persian and the Medes Empire. The three ribs, and it says it had three ribs in its mouth between the teeth of it. That's referring to those three other empires or three other, powers that the Persian and the Medes had under their thumb. The Egyptians, the Lydians, and the Babylonians, right? Or the Chaldeans. It says, and after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, the Greek Empire, Alexander the Great, which had upon his back of it the four wings of a fowl. The four wings represent the four generals. When Alexander died, the four generals that took over his empire was, who is it? It was Cassander, Ptolemy, Antigonus, and Seleucus, right? And you had Lacenaeus. And if I believe Cassander was taken down by Lacenaeus, Ptolemy, and Antigonus. So the actual four that survived it, that he's referring to here, the four wings, it went between the Ptolemies, Antigonus. Is it Antigonus? No. Cassander, Ptolemy, Seleucus, and Lacenaeus. It was Antigonus that was taken down by Cassander, Ptolemy, and Lacenaeus. They came together and took down Antigonus. So the four fowls, the four wings of the four fowl is Cassander, Ptolemy, Seleucus, and Lacenaeus. They were known as the Diadoches. That was the word they referred to them as, because Diadochi means four. All right, so they were known as the Diadoches. The beast also had four heads, and a dominion was given to it. The four heads: Seleucus, Ptolemy, Cassander, Lacenaeus. And the dominion of Alexander the Great, who took down the Persian and the Medes, was given to his four generals. Because remember, they killed all Alexander's children. Slacky. And I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible. This is the Roman Empire, strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured them, break in pieces, and stamped out the residue with the feet of it. and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before, and it had 10 horns. This is the Roman Empire, all right? The 10 horns that it's referring to are these people here that were part. I think he's a Greek, but it was those people that they were considered their client states. They were parts. They were referred to as the what do you call it, Germanic, the Germanic tribes, all right? Because these are the people that eventually took down the western part of the Roman Empire and invaded it around the 3rd, 4th century AD. So the 10, when it says here, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns, the 10 horns, the Viscos, the Oscos, the Vandals, the Lombards, the Alemenes, the Burgundians, I believe, the Franks, the Jutes, the Angles, and the Saxons. All right. So these people here, him and those men there, kind of represent those 10 horns. All right. So this is why they were coming. They come to Rome to say, look, you need to make us Roman citizens, give us the same rights, basically. But that's who they are. They are the 10 horns. They are part of that 10 horns. Now he's a Greek. He's not necessarily part because he's probably from Antioch or one of those places in Greece. Whereas the 10 horns represented the Germanic tribes. Now, there's a series on Netflix that's called Barbarians. It's called The Barbarians. It's on Netflix. It goes into details about the Germanic tribes and the Roman Empire during the time of Emperor Tiberius and Augustus, Emperor Augustus. All right, absolutely brilliant, well detailed. It's called The Barbarians. It's on Netflix. Right, it's an absolutely brilliant series, and it makes you understand how the 10 horns began to be such a nuisance to the Roman Empire to they eventually kind of took it down, in a sense, played a part in taking it down, should I say, with all the other things that the Romans were doing in terms of, the Romans were taking their money and melting it down, and it was losing its value. Today we call that quantitative easing, printing more money. Back then, when they print more money, they would take your coins back in, they would melt it down, mix it with copper or brass, it would change its value, it would have a new value on it. And that's what they did back then to try to pay their armies because they were so outstretched, the Roman Empire. The same thing America does today, but we call it quantitative easing. America prints money. The more it prints, the less it's worth. The Romans, they took the money back in, the gold and silver coins, they melted them down and they mixed them with copper and brass. So they had more coins to give out, but they were worth less. The same thing. Today we call it quantitative easing. So that's what that's talking. So they're the fourth beast here. So it makes me wonder if these people that made this film knew that Rome was referred to as this fourth beast that was dreadful and terrible, strong and exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and break in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. All right. So let's quickly just go back a little bit more of this. Shalom to the Akiyams on the comment board. Praises and glory. Shalom. Beloved brother, GMS Hawaii. Shalom, bro. So let's see. Let me just hear.
That Marcus Aurelius promised.
So he said that great beast that Marcus
For
Aurelius.
human frontiers, the Roman peace that Marcus Aurelius promised.
Whoa. So those people you see there behind him, those are the 10 horns. Those are the Germanic tribes that were considered like client states of Rome. So he's speaking on behalf of all of these client states of Rome that Rome controlled and had like a treaty with them, and they had to pay tribute to Rome, but they were not considered Roman citizens. That's the 10 horns behind these people here. These are all the Germanic tribes. These are the Viscos, the Ostros, the Vandals, the Lombards, the Alemenes, the Burgundians, the Franks, the Jutes, the Angles, the Saxons. They were referred to as the Germanic tribes. All right, and they finally invaded Rome 3rd, 4th BC. But I tell you, watch that series Barbarian on Netflix, and you will get an understanding. And don't watch it dubbed. Watch it in the original German and Latin languages, because the Romans are speaking Latin in the show, and the Germanic tribes are speaking German in the show. Right? So don't watch it dubbed in English, because you lose the effect of the whole thing. Right? So anyway, let's go on here. So listen on.
Caesar! In the name of Caesar!
So that's Commodus. That's Caesar sitting on the throne behind this Senate. All right. That's Marcus Aurelius' son. But Marcus Aurelius was a so-called black man, right? He was a Jake. He was not a Caucasian. And so was his son, Commodus, right? These were so-called black Roman emperors. Like I said, Nerva, Trajan, Hadrian, Antonius Pius, Marcus Aurelius, and then his son, Commodus, because I believe the son poisoned the father, because he wasn't going to let the son become the emperor. He was going to let one of his, I think they call it like Praetorian guards, like a general in his Praetorian guards, to become the emperor. But Commodus found out that he wasn't going to get his dad's title, so he killed his father. That's what they say. He poisoned him before he could make someone else the emperor before he died. All right. So that's the emperor at the moment. That's Commodus. So this is around like 180 AD we're looking at now, right? This is the time frame. So around 180 AD. So let's listen on. Let's listen to the devil. Because remember, back then, right, it was about nobility. It weren't about color. They didn't come and look at you and think you Negro or you Blackie or whatever. It was about nobility, money, power. All right? And Israelites were embedded in the Roman army back then as well. Just so you understand. Again, all the way, even when Alexander the Great came to Jerusalem and Samaria, because he had that dream about the high priest that was going to greet him, and the high priest told him that Alexander told him about the dream that he had about the high priest meeting him when he came to the gates of Jerusalem, and the high priest told Alexandra that he's in the book of Daniel. He's referred to as the leopard in the book of Daniel, and that. Even then, many Israelites joined Alexander's army. Why? Because when Alexander conquered Jerusalem, he didn't have to besiege it or take it down. They opened the gates to him. He allowed them to continue with their laws, commandments, and statutes and ways of life. It was after he died when it all changed, when they began to Hellenize them. So when he died, you had the Seleucid Empire and the Ptolemaic Empire that Hellenized all of that region, from Assyria, Israel, Egypt, all of the Middle East, parts of Western, Eastern Europe, and that. All the places that Alexander had conquered, when his empire was split between his four generals, that's when this Hellenization came into full mode, basically. But when Alexander had conquered, he wasn't telling people they had to convert. He allowed them to continue practicing and worship whatever gods they worship or whatever religion, and that all they had to do was pay tribute to him, and that. So that's why many Israelites joined Alexandra, and also because he was in the book of Daniel, and he was told by the high priest, I think his name was Jaddua. He told, it's in the book of Josephus, book 11, chapter 8, when Jaddua told Alexander the Great who he was in the book of Daniel, that it was prophesied about him. So many Israelites joined Alexander's outfit, his army, during that time. So it was always known for them to join these people that had subdued them, to join their legions of the army, as long as they was allowed to continue practicing their own laws, commandments, and statutes. The reason why they had the wars, the Maccabees against the Antiochus, the Seleucid Empire, is because they wouldn't allow the Israelites to follow the laws, commandments, and statutes. That's why you had the wars of the Maccabees against them, because after Alexander died, everything changed. So let's listen on.
Caesar has asked me, when has Rome ever been greater or stronger?
I say in answer to Caesar, never has Rome been greater or stronger than now. And what is it that has kept our empire together? Our strength, our might. Equality, freedom, peace. Who is it that uses these words but Greeks and Jews and slaves?
You hear that? He said, who is it that uses these words but Greeks and Jews and slaves? All right? Just so you understand the presence of Israelites within this whole thing, what's going on here. He says, who is it that uses these words but Greeks and Jews and slaves? Right? Because when Commodus came on to become the emperor, things started to change drastically on how he dealt with the client states, how he dealt with Israel, how he dealt with the Germanic tribes, you know, Egypt, all these other places that they conquered. All right, things changed. The whole attitude of how he dealt with them changed when Commodus became emperor, and those people that, you know, that sat around Commodus. So he's saying that, you know, Greeks and Jews and slaves. All right, into it again.
Freedom, peace. Who is it that uses these words but Greeks and Jews and slaves? Behind him and his people are the Vandals, untold millions of them, waiting for a moment.
See, those are the Germanic tribes. See those people behind? That's a Greek. This one's a Roman that brought them here to see if they can garner favor with the new emperor. But behind them, these are the 10 horns. These are the Germanic tribes behind them. Right? That's who they are. Right? That they are the 10 horns here. When it says here, and it was diverse from the rest, from all of the beasts that were before it. That's the Roman Empire, and it had 10 horns. The 10 horns that it had were the Germanic tribes, which were considered vassal states, client states to Rome. They were not citizens. They were under the Roman rule. They was allowed to have their own king or, you know, queen, whoever was ruling those territories, you know, amongst them, but they had to pay tribute to Rome, whether it was in food and money and all sorts of things. And believe me, if you watch that series Barbarians on Netflix, you'll get a true understanding of these 10 horns, these Germanic tribes, and their relationship with the Roman Empire. It's so well detailed. Listen, man, when Esau put certain things together, you know, they are really excellent at this, let me tell you, all right? Because they've got the history, they know the history, but that's who they are. These are the 10 horns, right? In Daniel's chapter 7.
Weakness ready to destroy us. If we take these barbarians in amongst us, our enemies will say it is because we are weak. Then they will pour in on us from everywhere. It will be the end of the Roman Empire.
And you kind of see that now. America's enemies can see that they are weak and they are collaborating together against the fourth beast, right? Because this is, if we just go to, hold on, sorry. Revelations 13. This is the, America is here. When it says here, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet was a feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion, and the dragon gave him his power. All right, that's America is the dragon, and his seat and great authority, because the beast, when it talks about the beast here in Revelation 13 and 2, it's NATO, it's referring to NATO, and the head of NATO is America. This is what we must understand. So the reincarnation of the Roman Empire, when it talks about the beast and its deadly wound is healed, it's referring to NATO, but the head of NATO is America, all right? And NATO is made up of the 10 horns as well today, because all of those European countries who were adversaries to ancient Rome are now allies with what we would consider modern Rome, the United States of America. So when it says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, right? Because it had parts of the Greek Empire, going back to Alexander the Great, and his feet was the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. This is who it's referring to, all right? This is NATO. And when it says as a feet as a bear, this is talking, because when you take somebody down, if you grab them by their legs, their feet, they go straight down to the ground. Who was referred to as the bear? The Russians. That's why it says that it has a feet, and its feet was as feet of a bear, because it's the Russians, which is the bear, that's going to take down the beast, which is NATO. The head of NATO is America, by the feet, literally. That's the best way to take someone down. You grab them from below the knees, by the feet, boom, you take them to the floor. This is metaphoric, symbolic language to how the Russians are going to take down America. And his mouth is as the mouth was a lion, Great Britain, all right? Because America came out of Great Britain. The 13 colonies were British colonies, all right, under King George II, right? So before the War of Independence, before the Civil War, you had the War of Independence against the Brits. And the dragon gave him his power. That's America. The dragon gave the beast his power, because America is the head of NATO. And the dragon is talking about America, these Edomites, and his seat and his great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it was wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. This is the reincarnation of the Roman Empire. NATO and America is the reincarnation of the Roman Empire, because NATO is made up of all of those European countries, alongside Canada and Australia, I believe. These are all Edomite countries. And all the world wondered after the beast. All the world wonders after these Edomites, after the beast, America. America, the head of NATO. The beast is NATO, one and the same thing, just so you understand. And they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. The dragon is the so-called white man, the Edomites. Their stronghold is America. And they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. NATO, the head of NATO, is the dragon, these Edomites. And they worship the beast. They worship NATO and its military power, and America, which leads it, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to what? To make war with the beast? Who is able to make war with NATO? Why do you think Ukraine wants NATO to get directly involved in this war? Because they're thinking the same thing. Who is able to make war with the beast? They don't think the Russians are up to fighting against NATO. But what they don't realize, that these Russians have got more firepower than what you can ever believe, especially when it comes to these nuclear weapons. And they are not ramping. And they are going to be the nation that's going to take down NATO and America before our Lord comes. So who is able to make war with the beast? So if we go back here, this is the beast whose deadly wound was healed, the Roman Empire. It's their wound that was healed, as you're going to hear. Listen up.
The end of Rome.
The end of Rome? How does an empire die? Does it collapse in one terrible moment? No. But there comes a time when its people no longer believe in it. Then does an empire begin to die.
Did you hear that? No different today. They don't believe in America no more, especially these people. Remember, America is the most divided country on this planet right now. Believe me, its citizens. They have two complete different ideas of how that country should be run. So just like he said, how does an empire die? Let's listen again to him. Listen again to this senator.
How does an empire die? Does it collapse in one terrible moment? No. But there comes a time when its people no longer believe in it. Then does an empire begin to die.
That's where America is. When its people no longer believe in it, the so-called American dream, then does an empire die. So the same thing that happened back then is happening now. They no longer believe in America. Its enemies are no longer afraid of America because America is going to go out the same way that Rome went out, except in a more spectacular fashion. So when we say here, and I saw one of his heads as it was wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, that's the Roman Empire. And all the world wondered after the beast. So the Roman Empire's deadly wound was healed. Today, we know it as NATO and America. NATO is the head of America. This is what this is talking about. This is why when you read through the rest of Revelations 13, it's all going to lead to, it leads to them introducing on a global scale the beast, the microchip. That's why it says, and they worship the dragon that gave him power unto the beast, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him. That's why everybody wants to join NATO, because they're thinking, who can make war with NATO? The bigger we are, the stronger we are. No, no matter how big NATO grows, the Most High has got the Russians prepped to take down NATO and America. And there was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies. That's America. That's Esau, the Edomites. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. So what is that symbolic for? That's symbolic for 42 months represents 3.5 years, which is symbolic for the 350 years roughly of slavery that they took our people into captivity. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the Most High, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints. Those are the 42 months. The slavery, to make war with the saints, because slavery was supposedly came to an end around 1865, emancipation. And remember, the first slaves were brought to America around 1512. Yeah, around 1512. So if you count from 1512 to 1865, that's roughly 350 years, which is represents the 42 months, which is 3.5 years. The 3.5 years is symbolic for the 350 years of slavery, from the first slaves that came to America around 1512 to the War of Independence, 1865, 1864. It works out to just around 350 years. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, the true children of Israel. Slavery, and when they came to the Americas and committed genocide against the Native American Indians, they were making war with the saints, right? The American cavalry, the US Army, they wiped out the majority of the Native American Indians. They were making war with the saints, Esau. And it wasn't just happening in America, this was also happening all throughout South America. They was making war with the saints in South America and North America. They enslaved the Israelites in South America and North America. And to overcome them, they overcome us. And power was given him over all kindreds, tongues, and nations. So now America is known as the greatest country in the world. Power was given to him over all kindreds, tongues, and nations. America is considered the superpower of superpowers to the world. And then it has its NATO allies, all right, which is part of the beast. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. So you got people fighting tooth and nail to go to that country, right? America, right? You see what's going on the southern border. You've got millions of Israelites crossing the border and waiting for the Title 42 to expire so they can come into America and claim asylum without being sent back to Mexico to sit there and claim asylum. Title 42 comes to an expires, I think, next week. So now they can come and claim asylum while they're in America. So it's everywhere. The Ukrainians want to come there. The Afghans, everyone from the Middle East that's in these different wars, from Libya, they all want to come to America, right? Because they do worship this place. But what's going to drive them to the ultimate worshiping of these Edomites is when they receive their mark, the charagma. So this man knows, because ultimately this is where they're heading, all right? Down here, where this mark is going to come into play. This is causes all small, great and poor, rich and poor to receive a mark in their right hand or on their foreheads, right? Those who what? He had power to give life unto the image of the beast, his philosophies, his ways of life, the reincarnation of this Roman Empire. Everything about America and these Edomite kingdoms and their countries is symbolic. It's the same as what was going on in ancient Rome. That the image, the philosophies of the beast of NATO, the head of NATO is America. These are Edomites. All Edomite countries that are members of NATO should both speak and cause that as many that would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So it's kind of what you was hearing here. You had one of the senators was saying, oh, we just need them to worship us. Oh, well, we're just going to kill them. They need to continue being our slaves. But. So they're going through the same thing again here. But they're going to continue making their slaves through the microchip. Because remember what this senator said here, right? When he said, the one that came off the stage. This one here. Listen to what he says here again. Remember what he said.
Caesar has asked me, when has Rome ever been greater or stronger? I say in answer to Caesar, never has Rome been greater or stronger than now. And what is it that has kept our empire together? Our strength, our might. Equality, freedom, peace. Who is it that uses these words but Greeks and Jews and slaves? Behind him and his people are the Vandals, untold millions of them. Waiting.
Did you hear him mention the Vandals, one of the Germanic tribes? And behind him are the Vandals. That's one of the 10 horns, the Germanic tribes. All right? So, listen on.
Behind him and his people are the Vandals, untold millions of them, waiting for a moment of weakness, ready to destroy us. If we take these barbarians in amongst us, our enemies will say it is because we are weak. Then they will pour in on us from everywhere. It will be the end of the Roman Empire. It will be the end of Rome.
You see? So he's saying the exact same thing, kind of what they're saying now. They're looking at us, the Hebrew Israelites, as the enemies because we are preaching this truth. We are preaching the downfall of Babylon the Great, of this fourth beast, of this beast whose wound, whose deadly wound was healed. We're prophesying the downfall of Esau, Edom's kingdom and stranglehold on the whole world, and its stronghold, America, and these Edomites' power as a whole. So they want to continue making you slaves and servants. So they're coming up with new ideas and new technology. So the ultimate technology they're going to use to make you a slave is this here, is the microchip. That's what it says. And he causes both small and great. So let's go back up here again. It says, and he that had power to give life unto the image of the beast, right, which is his philosophies, his ways of life, his ideas, the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast, that don't believe. This is why they're bringing all these new laws and these new so-called anti-Semitic laws and hate crime laws and hate speech and all these things, because we're not willing to go with the status quo, to worship his image, his beliefs, his philosophies, should be killed. That's the ultimate sacrifice that they're going to put on us, is to kill you. And then they're going to cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, a charagma, the microchip, in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, say he that has the mark or the name of the beast, this reincarnation of this Roman Empire, or the number of his name. This is where they're all going, because they know, because ultimately they know this is going to happen, right? It says, verse 8, Daniel 7 and 8, it says, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. This little horn here is talking about the United States of America. The first 3 horns, when it says plucked up, I believe that's talking about, once again, France, Spain, and England, the 3 empires that were before America, because remember, France was in America, Spain was out there, and England. Those were the 3 main powers, superpowers of their time that was in the Americas. France took a lot. Remember, parts of Canada today, they just only speak French, Quebec, right? France had an interest in America itself. Spain, all of South America speaks Spanish except for Brazil. Brazil was conquered by the Portuguese. Everywhere else in South America, they speak Spanish because they were conquered by the Spanish. These were the 3. These were when it says, but whom, and remember, the Spaniards and the Portuguese were one. Ferdinand and Isabella, they came kind of as a united force together, all right? So that was one of these 3 horns, was the Spanish Empire, that was tied very closely to the Portuguese. Then you had the English, the British Empire, and then the French Empire. It says, before whom there were 3 of the first horns. 3 of the first horns were those 3, the Spanish, the French, and the English, plucked up by their roots, because America became the superpower over all 3 of them, all right? And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man. That's America. And a mouth speaking great things, the United States of America. But you see, this is what they know is their ultimate end, all right? And I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, all right? The Ancient of Days is the Most High, Yahweh, all right? Who the world ignorantly calls God, all right? Sometimes we refer to him as the Most High. That's the Ancient of Days. And the hair of his head was pure wool, and his throne was like a fiery flame, and the walls as a burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth before him. Thousands of thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were open. All right? Because ultimately, the Lord is going to send his son Yahushua with these angels, with these thousands and thousands of angels to come and take down these Edomites in the midst of World War III, the Armageddon, in the midst of the war between Russia and its allies against the beast, NATO and America. I beheld them because the voice of the great words which the horn spake, which America spake. All right? I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. That's his ultimate destruction, the nuclear destruction. The beast, NATO, America, will be ultimately destroyed and given to burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beast, they had their dominion taken away, the rest of the NATO countries that make up the beast, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a time. All right? And then he says here, is it here? Yeah. It says, I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man, Yahushua. So they know this is happening. They know this is their end. This is why they're coming down hard on us. Came with the clouds of heaven, with the angels in the chariots, and came to the Ancient of Days that brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and a glory and a kingdom, that all people, all of these Edomites, these Arabs, these Africans, these Ishmaelites, these East Indians, all these people and nations and language should serve him. They're going to serve Yahushua in his kingdom alongside the Israelites that he's going to bring into power. His dominion, when this kingdom is set up on earth to take down the 4th beast whose deadly wound was healed, who spake like a dragon, his dominion is an everlasting dominion. Yahushua's dominion, which is the kingdom of heaven, is going to be the everlasting and the last dominion to be on the planet earth, which shall not pass away. And his kingdom that he's coming to set up, that which shall not be destroyed, and it shall never be destroyed. So these devils know this is coming. All right, let me just jump down here. And it says here, thus it says, the 4th beast, the Roman Empire, shall be the 4th kingdom upon earth. So this is the 4th beast, the Roman Empire. But we're living in the reincarnation of this 4th beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Believe me, man, these devils went into the Bible to make this movie. Why would they refer to themselves as the Roman beast? He said the Roman beast that Marcus Aurelius promised. Let's go back to scripture. It says it, thus he says, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, right? Which shall be diverse from all the kingdoms and shall devour the whole earth, the Roman Empire, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces, right? That's why they was coming here saying about enough. These guys here, sorry, where is it? These guys here said about enough. The Vandals, the Viscos, the Ostrogoths, the Lombards, the Almanis, the Burgundians, the Franks, the Jutes, the Angles, the Saxons. They said about enough, right? So when it says here, and the 10 horns out of this kingdom are the 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. All right, goes back to what I said here. The 3 kings refer to the 3 empires, France, Spain, and England. Right, the one that's going to arise out of them is America, and he spake great words against the Most High. That's America. All right, speaking great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints. That's what they did. And they continue to wear us out today through their murder, pillage, rape, genocide, slavery, incarceration, lynching, their racism, their oppression. They wore us out. We've had enough of this devil. And they shall wear out the saints of the Most High, which is what they have done and continue to do, and think to change times and laws, which is what they have done. We have no idea really what year it is. They've changed it all. They've changed the laws. A man can marry a man, a woman can marry a woman can become a man can become a woman. You know, they've changed all of the laws. They don't believe in the Bible, but yet they have it in their courthouse. And they say, do you want to swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Put your hand on the Bible. But they've changed the laws, everything. They're an abomination, these Edomites. And America is the head place for the abomination. And they shall think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into the hand until a times, and a dividing of a time will be given into their hands. The times, and the dividing of the times represents the 42 months, which is symbolic for the 350 years of slavery, around from 1512, when the first slaves came to the Americas, right, to the actual continent of America, not to the West Indies, and up until the emancipation, the war of the Civil War, right, which is around 1865. So when it says here times, and dividing time, that's same thing when it talks about the 42 months. But the judgment shall sit. So these devils, these elites and super elites know that the judgments in the Bible shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion. We're going to take away this devil's dominion, and they know this. They can feel it in their bones, but the elites know this for sure. To consume and to destroy unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High. We're going to take it all. The elites, the super elites of Esau, Edom, Edomites, and even of the other nations, they know this to be a fact, because this has not been fulfilled yet, this prophecy. Some of Daniel 7 is, but not all of Daniel chapter 7 has been fulfilled yet. So the kingdom and dominion that this devil has today, and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven, shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High. Those are the children of Israel, the Israelites. In these last days, the elect, the chosen of Israel, whose kingdom, and Yahushua, because Yahushua is going to be leading the charge alongside Michael the archangel, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, and all of the rest of the legions of angels, alongside 144,000. The mixed multitude, but they're all going to be part of the elect, the chosen, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom. And all dominions, listen carefully, shall serve and obey him. Every kingdom and dominion that's going to survive the destruction is going to serve us in the kingdom of heaven that's coming to earth. Every kingdom. It says here too is the end of the matter. They can't change it. This is the end of the matter. They can't change what this end is going to be. So they're going to live it up as much as they can. They're going to cause as much destruction as they can. They're going to commit as much wickedness as they can, but they can't change the end. This is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, beloved brother Daniel, the prophet, my cogitations much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart, in my mind. So that's Esau's end. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. That is Esau's end. All right? There's no getting out of this. There's no second chances. There's no going back to the drawing board. There's no changing what the end is going to be. That is Esau's end. Simple. So on that note, I've hit the hour mark. All praises. I enjoyed today's edification. I pray you are edified by today's edification. America and Rome, the fourth beast whose deadly wound was healed. As always, I want to give all the praises and the glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah, Kodash. Yahweh is the Most High. Yahweh Shai is the Son, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jesus Christ. Double honors to my apostles of Great Millstone, who have been leading this word in truth and spirit and sincerity. And salutations to my fellow Hebrew Israelite brothers out there and the sisters that have been edified by the truth of the scriptures of who we are, the true children of Israel, the Israelites, and who the other nations are. As I always say, keep praying, keep safe, and hold on to this truth. That's all we got, family. We're waiting for the kingdom, and it's gonna happen. And Esau knows it's gonna happen. So get ready for hell, because he's gonna create so much havoc and hell on his way out. It's like someone has been kicked out of a bar. He's breaking every chair and table and chair on his way to the exit door. But that's going to be Esau, breaking everything on his way out before he goes into captivity, before he comes under our thumb in the kingdom that's coming to earth. Shalom, 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 family. All praises.